hopefully his denial of infidelity was a little bit more convincing than his denial of being a violent, vile white supremacist. You know what I'm saying? Because ain't nobody convinced. You know what I'm saying? Ain't nobody convinced of it. You know what I mean? What up? It's your boy Rob coming back at you once again with another video. So before we get started, you already know what to do. If you're not subscribed to the channel, make sure you hit the bell icon twice. Smash the like button, share this video out to all of your followers, and let's get into the content. So I don't know if you guys saw, but I did a video before on a woman named Kathleen Moore. Look at that, your boy dropping bars already.
Whoa! Whoa!
All right. At the time when I did that video, her significant other, Colin Knapp, I believe his name is, was detained for charges of, I believe, second-degree murder, but they had yet to find her body. All right. Apparently, since that video was produced, they have indeed found her body. And ironically, one of the people who was involved in finding the body was Dog the Bounty Hunter's team. All right, so we're gonna go into a little history of Dog the Bounty Hunter because he's questionable.
How can I describe you?
You know what I'm saying? And as far as I'm concerned, this guy that she was with was a shady character. You know what I'm saying? This dude had 10 felony arrests, I believe 9 misdemeanor arrests, and a history of domestic violence. Now, this, in my opinion, brings me to the point of at what point are YouTube and social media content creators going to be held accountable for their advice? Because when it comes to men and women, a lot of social media content creators, they have a huge influence on the people in their broadcast radius, and they advise these people to make a lot of bad decisions. You know what I mean? And I think that it would be nice, and I think that justice would also be served if these content creators, if a viewing record of these murder victims, men and women, if they can find a pattern of watching similar content creators, then those content creators should be held somewhat liable. You know what I mean? You basically have a lot of content creators who tell the world the same thing that white supremacy tells the world, that black men aren't shit. All right, well, you know what? If you are somebody who dies in a situation like this, a viewing record of your internet should be done. And if you have been watching a majority of content creators that tell you, you know, only that it doesn't matter what's wrong with this other person, as long as this person has a certain skin color, you should be with them. And if you end up dying or suffering damage, in my opinion, you know what I'm saying, that those content creators who influenced your decision are somewhat liable. You know what I'm saying? You've pumped this information into people's heads for years and years and years. You know, you should be held liable. Schools should be held liable. You know, people that created Birth of a Nation should be held liable. You know what I mean? All of those kind of people. You know what I mean? And that's just not the women. I'm talking about the men too. You know what I'm saying? You got a lot of these idiots out here that say that people should be with certain kind of women. All right, well, if you watch and you know, a dude kills a woman, or if you watch and a woman kills a man, if the majority of their viewing content is that kind of rhetoric, those people need to be punished and charged, in my opinion. You know what I'm saying? In my opinion, this woman, we don't know what she was watching on social media. She could have been getting some really dangerous and really bad advice. Those content creators need to be held accountable. They need to stand in front of an audience publicly, you know what I'm saying, and say, well, this woman took your advice and she's dead now. So what do we do? How do we deal with you? Because what are we going to do about the things that you're saying that could get the next person killed? Okay, so that's something to consider. in my opinion, because again, if we're going to fix, quote, the justice system, then that means that justice needs to be had. Because, if she had not been listening to toxic content, maybe she would have chosen a better relationship. Again, we don't know this. This is just me speculating. I don't know the past history of how her relationships were. I don't know any of that. You know what I'm saying? I'm just saying these ideas come from somewhere. And the source of these ideas, in my opinion, if they're getting people killed, it should be up to public scrutiny, in my opinion. A lot of these content creators, they slide under the radar because a lot of people who don't engage themselves in the internet don't understand what goes on in these festering toxic pus bubbles on the internet, where men trash women and women trash men and races trash each other. You know what I'm saying? They need to be brought to the forefront with their rhetoric and how their rhetoric could have influenced the decision. They need to be held accountable. What I find the most interesting is that the main people who talk about male and female accountability always skirt the accountability for the things that they talk in the events that they set into place. All right. So this is an article from Fox. All right. And this is coming out of Florida. Body of Florida woman Kathleen Moore found near the home of boyfriend charged with killing her. All right. Her boyfriend is charged with second-degree murder. The body of a Florida woman whose boyfriend was charged with her death this week was found Tuesday near his home, authorities said. And this dude is clearly a white supremacist, you know what I'm saying? And what I find the most interesting is that something like this will happen and white people will say, well, how is he a white supremacist? He was dating a black woman. Listen, people are crazy. People are sick. People have race and slave fetishes. Some people who date interracially, they date because they love the person. You know what I mean? Some people really have some weird, fucked up fetishes. If you go and look up fetishes on the internet and you see all of the different kind of fetishes that exist, for you to be white and think that you're right and say that white supremacy and race sexual fetishes don't exist, what you should do is take a look into your lineage and your ancestry and see exactly what was going on with slave breeding farms, as well as mammies and bed wenches and bed bugs. And I'm not saying that in a derogatory way. I'm saying that in a historical way, so that these people can stop asking such stupid questions about the situations that they created. You know what I mean? The Pasco County Sheriff's Office said deputies received a tip at 11:30 a.m. about a body from someone walking on Carmel Avenue in Newport Richey, 40 miles northwest of Tampa. Sheriff Chris Noko said the woman was identified as 34-year-old Kathleen Moore, based on her tattoos. She was found in a wooded area and was covered by thick brush in an area that was previously searched, she said. All right, so this is a picture of them. And again, clearly you can look at this dude and tell that he was a Duck Dynasty white supremacist. You know what I mean? And, again, very odd. You know what I'm saying? And clearly he was. You know what I'm saying? He felt that he'd be able to kill a non-white person without consequence. And that's one of the pillars of white supremacy. So for any white person to sit there and say, well, he was with a black person, it doesn't matter. That does not matter. You know what I mean? And a lot of interracial relationships occur as a result of white supremacy, whether it's a white man with a black woman or a black man with a white woman. And that's something that needs to be acknowledged. You know what I mean? And that's something, and it's not so much something that black people need to acknowledge because we understand that. It's something that white people need to acknowledge. You know what I'm saying? They need to acknowledge that and put that as another notch on their belt for their contributions to the planet. All right. She was definitely covered on purpose to make sure that no one would come upon her, Noko said. Even as detectives will tell you, even when you're 2 feet away from her, it's hard to see that her body was there, which it makes me wonder, how good of a job did the police department do? Again, I asked this question in my first video. How much effort was actually done to find any evidence or to find the body? It doesn't seem like much, in my opinion. You know what I'm saying? So now it says he noted that investigators had been focused on 14 industrial-sized dumpsters that needed to be searched before they were hauled off to a landfill. And remember, I said that, what were they doing? about those dumpsters in that last video. Investigators had previously found bloodstained clothing in the dumpsters, Noko said. A cause of death has not been determined, said Pasco County Sergeant Michael Rosa. Investigators are working to determine when Moore died. She was last seen alive on the night of November 28th while at a bar in Largo with her boyfriend, Colin Knapp, and some friends, Noko said on Monday. Witnesses said Moore and Knapp were arguing before they left. And, he went white man angry and decided to I'm just going to take this person out because I'm white and I say so, and I'm allowed to, and nobody's going to do anything about it. And nobody would have done anything about it. You know what I mean? This woman did not get the Gabby Petito outrage. Nobody really gave a shit, which is very sad. You know what I'm saying? The story didn't come across my desk until yesterday. As soon as I found out about it, I did a video. You know what I'm saying? But this is the bullshit that we deal with. You know what I mean? So now here it says Knapp drove to a 7-Eleven near his home later that night and claimed that Moore was in the car at the time. However, Noko said surveillance cameras did not give a clear view inside of Knapp's vehicle. Knapp also claimed that Moore went home with him before leaving on foot with her backpack the next morning. Noko said there was no evidence of Moore's whereabouts during that time or since. Knapp has been charged with second-degree homicide in connection to the case. All right, check this out. Knapp has 10 previous felony arrests and 9 misdemeanor arrests since 2004. So again, all of those content creators who tell women don't date black men or don't date non-black men, white men are the kings of the world. You won't have a good life unless you deal with a white man. If they can do a search on her phone and tie her listening to that, those people need to be held accountable, in my opinion. And not because they directed her towards dating a white man. Again, I believe that there's, plenty of people of all races who are compatible. You know what I'm saying? However, if you're not using proper search characteristics, you know what I mean, to find your significant other, then you'll end up on the wrong side of the dirt, like this woman did. She might have found some white dude that was good for her if that's what she liked. You know what I mean? But the problem is, this might have been the only white individual, you know what I'm saying, that might have been interested in her. I don't know, you know what I'm saying? However, there could be other men who were interested in her, and because she listened to that kind of rhetoric, the black dude who has a mid-level management in the IT department, a Latino lawyer, an Arabic dude who, may own a chain of stores or something like that, all of those dudes would be out of the running because of perpetually listening to this get out of Blackistan, only date white men rhetoric. And as a result, this person is now dead. So if you really care about these kind of women, you know what I mean? If you really care about black women, the way that people say they do, then in my opinion, it needs to be addressed every time you direct somebody to someone that takes their life. And that includes the black men that take a lot of these women's life, because we know that there's a problem with black men killing and black men killing black women. You know what I'm saying? So again, I don't really, you know what I mean? Like, I think that this should be taken into consideration, and there needs to be choices on there needs to be more content on how to actually appropriately choose a partner, regardless of who your partner is. To me, it should be common sense, especially if an individual has a history of domestic violence. The only reason why he doesn't have a current history of domestic violence is because he's not with anybody. He's single, so he doesn't have a female punching bag to be hitting. You know what I'm saying? Soon as he gets into a relationship, guess what? You just put yourself into a punching bag situation. So now he's going to be doing domestic violence again. And because he's a white man and because you happen to be a black woman, he already looks at you as less. And guess what? Instead of giving you the liberty of just beating you, he killed you. You know what I mean? So again, that's something that needs to be taken into consideration. And my thing is, like I said, you got to pay attention to what people are being taught, and you got to pay attention to what people listen to. I know it's very difficult for the world to believe that there are, black men out here who are actually doing good and, not criminals. I know, but anyone that preaches anti-black male rhetoric and a record of that, of listening to that, can be found. Those people need to be pulled in court and scrutinized as well, right along with this individual, because if you look at all the people that could have possibly been eligible to be with this young lady, and she was directed to being with a white man, because regardless of the 10 felonies, regardless of the 9 misdemeanors, he's better than the other law-abiding non-white men. You gotta kind of hold the teacher accountable for the lesson at some point. You know what I mean? Now, for the decision, clearly the decision is the responsibility of the individual, but at the same time, the teacher, the teacher is definitely responsible at some level for the rhetoric. And if you guys agree with me or if you disagree with me, let me know how you feel about that. All right. A team of retired law enforcement officers who work as private investigators found Moore's body near Knapp's home after retracing his version of events that night before Moore was last seen alive. In my honest opinion, I believe he put the body there after the investigators, searched the area. Billy Lane, one of the private investigators, told Fox News, "I think he took the body after they left, thinking they'll never come back." The state of Moore's body also raised questions for Lane. There should have been more decomposition, a smell of decomposition, and there have been more flies than there were, which makes me think they preserved the body somehow. And this motherfucker talking about he thinks they preserved the body somehow. You know how they preserved the body. One of the things that they said is that this dude was a meth head, all right? And if you have chemicals that are used to manufacture meth, some of those chemicals can also be used to preserve organic materials. Also, this dude was a cook at a restaurant, and you can use things like meat tenderizers and different things like that to be able to preserve the body. And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, people saw him going towards his restaurant, the restaurant that he was a kitchen manager at. So as the police, we have to again question how competent this police department is. I don't think that they did a good investigation. I don't think that they tried as hard as they could, and I don't think that they tried as hard as they could because, unfortunately, this was a young black woman, which is very sad. You know what I'm saying? And something needs to be done about that. The police department, in my opinion, as always, needs to be held accountable. Police departments in every crime always need to be held accountable, because police, anytime that the police are there allegedly to keep order in society, and if the police don't keep order in society, their asses need to be held to the fire too, because that's their job. That's what they applied for. Nobody told them to do that. They could have got a job with the motherfucking post office. You know what I'm saying? So fuck police. All right. So now here it says, horror find: Kathleen Moore's body found near the boyfriend Colin Knapp's house by one of Dog the Bounty Hunter's search teams. And what I find the most interesting about this is that Dog the Bounty Hunter is a confirmed white supremacist. Sadly, you know what I'm saying, this idiot even got called out by his own family about how much of a disgusting racist that he is. So what's really sad about this is that this woman was killed by a white supremacist, and a white supremacist team of bounty hunters found her body. So, you know, that's kind of how it goes here in the United States. You know what I'm saying? Especially when you're black. You know what I mean? You deal with white supremacy on a day-to-day basis, and then you have to call white supremacists in blue costumes, to try to help with the situation. So again, in my opinion, it's always best to try to keep yourself out of situations where you would have to involve the police. Second of all, don't call the police. Third of all, don't date men that have 10 felonies and 9 domestic violence or 9 misdemeanors and multiple domestic violence charges. That's one way to keep yourself out of that kind of situation. You know what I mean? So now here it says the team of Dog the Bounty Hunter have reportedly found the body of missing mom, Kathleen. And so she was a mom. What I find, this is interesting, because if you guys watched that video that I did yesterday, they didn't say anything about her having kids, which again is how the white media downplays any aspect of any black family. You know what I'm saying? If this was a white woman, they'd have been saying, oh, you know, a beautiful family, and she had 4 gorgeous kids. You know what I'm saying? They didn't say none of that shit about this lady. You know what I mean? So you have to pay attention to how the white media at every turn and every attempts to drag black people. And in my opinion, black media should return the favor. You know what I mean? Does that make me a racist? No, not at all. That makes me just a normal human being. If someone hits you, then you hit them back. You know what I mean? And again, according to white ethics, according to white morality, everybody has a right to self-defense. Now, I find that funny because we all know that when white people are saying everybody, they're talking about every white person. But according to their own moral and ethics system, you know, you had a right to hit back. You had a right to self-defense. That's why they run around with AR-15s that they give to their toddlers, you know what I'm saying, to take pictures for Christmas in, you know what I mean? But for some reason, I don't think that anybody else should be able to do that. Only good American families. So anytime somebody says good American anything, pay attention to who is depicted as a good American. It's never a woman that looks like this. It's never a man that looks like this. What's interesting is it's always the people that look like people that kill people like this, which in case you all forgot who that is, that will be this guy right here. And then this other guy who is on a phone call using the N-word about 6 times, right? Now, Dog the Bounty Hunter is such a piece of crap. He said that some black people gave him the N-word pass, and I don't doubt that, because black people do dumb shit like that. You know what I'm saying? I don't give anybody a motherfucking N-word pass. You know what I mean? But I don't doubt. I believe that Dog the Bounty Hunter is telling the truth on that. You know, sometimes people get yeah, you can use the N-word. No, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not addressing you like that. Don't address me like that. Period. It's not negotiable. You know what I mean? But, you know, black people tend to just really want acceptance from white people, which I don't understand. And then they go in circles with other black people and be like, you know, I can't stand these motherfuckers. Like, stop it. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're all full of shit. You know what I mean? So, Dog the Bounty Hunter said that he was using the N-word as a term of endearment, right? But the phone call that they have recorded, it's not being used as a term of endearment. So even in his own bullshit, he lied. And what's interesting is that he was on Fox, and Fox News was actually covering for him, saying, you know, this is what these people do. These people attempt to point out everyone as a racist. That's not true. You know what I'm saying? Basically, Dog the Bounty Hunter got caught in his own lies, and Tucker Carlson and Sean Hannity, Laura Ingraham, and Tommy Lauren attempted to steer the conversation in a different direction. And all of the black conservatives and the coons and red pills and manosphere retards on YouTube licked it up. Yeah, I mean, because those are the kind that would, you know, burn the community. You know what I'm saying? Go ahead and give motherfuckers a pass to call you the N-word while you go around and try to find some outlier situation and say that the world is becoming increasingly anti-white. White people made the world anti-white when they decided to have negative interactions with literally every single civilization on the planet other than, well, even their own. You know what I mean? So again, accountability at some point, please. I mean, Pasco County Sheriff Chris Noko confirmed on Tuesday that the body found was Kathleen's. She was found in the woods near the home of her boyfriend, Colin Knapp. All right, so there we go. We got Dog the Bounty Hunter's racist ass. And this dude right here, this European Nordic dude right here, he says that he is in some indigenous tribe, which I find interesting. They should, instead of calling him Dog the Bounty Hunter, they need to start calling him Dawes the Bounty Hunter. You know what I mean? So now here it says, Dog's team from the laundry search located a body that could be Kathleen Moore, wrote a tweet from Dog's official account. Found in an area behind the home of Moore's boyfriend, Dog and team sent their thoughts and prayers to Moore's family. The sheriff's office released a statement through their Facebook account. At approximately 11:30 a.m. this morning, Pasco Sheriff received a report from an individual walking in the area of Camel Avenue, Newport Richey, and they found a decomposing body, read the statement. The body has been determined to be the decedent Kathleen Moore, identified by tattoos. Moore's body was located in a wooded area. partially buried by a thick brush located approximately 50 yards northeast of Colin Knapp's residence in Newport Richey. In a press conference, Sergeant Michael Rosa said it's too early to determine the cause of Kathleen's death. Colin Knapp has been charged with second-degree murder in connection with the disappearance of Moore, who was 34, who was last seen alive in the early hours of November 29th in Pasco County, Florida. All right. She reportedly FaceTimed one of her friends at 1 a.m. outside of Knapp's home along Carmel Avenue following a night of drinking with him and others. Moore repeatedly told her friend that she and Knapp had got into an argument and that she was outside waiting for a ride home. The pair had also been seen arguing at a number of bars earlier in the evening, according to police. Never mind. Items of evidence recovered by police during their more than week-long probe included blood-stained clothes, led them to determine that she's dead. A decomposing female body was found earlier today while cops were hunting for the missing woman. And what I find interesting is that the cops were hunting so hard, but it was, I think it was a civilian who found the body. So my question is, what is it that the police actually do? What kind of strategies is it that the police actually use? Because it's always civilians finding these bodies, you know what I mean? And the police, for some reason, can never hack it. The police can never get the job done. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't until later that it was identified as Kathleen. The sheriff's office said at the time that the body has been determined to be that of an adult female located in a wooded area covered by thick brush. We do not have any information regarding the identification of the deceased at this time, and the investigation is ongoing. A childhood friend of Moore's, Erica Swanson, exclusively told Sun that Moore and Knapp allegedly endured quite a turbulent relationship and would get into fights often. All right? So they had issues in that relationship. You know what I mean? They had issues in that relationship, which again, is it hard to believe that someone would have issues dealing with someone who has 10 felonies and 9 misdemeanors and a history of domestic violence? You know what I mean? To me, that's the recipe for disaster. And fast forward to today, now we're dealing with disaster. All right, that's exactly what we're dealing with. All right. Swanson claimed that other friends of Moore have told her that she had previously complained that Knapp would become a different person when he drank, alleging he would become more angry and violent. That's not him becoming a different person. That's his inherent, I'm white and I say so, and violence coming out. It's not becoming a different person. That's the inner him coming out. You know what I mean? So now they talk about the dark past. Knapp's arrest for murder on Monday is not his first run-in with the police. No shit. He has an extensive rap sheet that includes dozens of arrests, including for domestic battery, possession of cocaine and meth, and reckless driving. So again, there's nothing being brought out by alcohol. That's giving this dude a pass. And you have to understand, they don't give us any passes. He's not getting one here, okay? His first criminal infraction came in May of 2010 when Knapp was booked on a felony account of aggravated battery in St. Petersburg. 3 years later, he was arrested in Largo on a misdemeanor count of domestic battery in the early hours of April 4th. He was arrested again in Largo 10 months later for another domestic battery, this time on a felony count. So again, this dude is completely operating off of I'm white and I say so. No regards to the law, you know what I'm saying? Because he knows that, you know, there's a safety net for him, you know what I mean? During the second arrest, Knapp was also cited for reckless driving, possession of MDMA, oxycodone, cocaine, and other paraphernalia. Again, what did the alcohol bring out? His true, raw, innate, violent nature. That's the red pill for today, all right? Then in August of 2014, Knapp was arrested for 2 misdemeanor counts of obstructing or restricting an officer without violence. So this motherfucker here obstructed and resisted an officer and was allowed to live. So again, we need to compare all of the black people who have gotten killed by the police, and we've got to compare the white people who have gotten killed by police, and then we have to compare who's been allowed to live to go on to commit murders and do other things. And again, this is something that we need to hold the police accountable for, because if the police are gunning down black people because of being inherent threats, if this dude got into a altercation with police and was allowed to live, we can say that the police have proximate responsibility in this murder, because if they would have gunned him down like they gunned down black people, then he wouldn't have been alive to kill this black woman. So again, another reason, in my opinion, that the police department was slacking on this bullshit, because they didn't want any of these details coming out that he had run-ins with the police before, and he had direct run-ins with the police, and they just decided to let him slide. You know, he's just a good old boy. You know what I mean? He didn't mean to do it. You know what I'm saying? He didn't mean to do it. There's plenty of reasons why. This guy's a hardworking guy at this kitchen. You know, he didn't mean to do it. Oh, did he mean to do this? Did he mean to do this? So now here it says the reason for his initial arrest is unclear, and that's because the police are incompetent. They don't fill out police reports all the way. They leave information off so that they can go back and doctor them easy later. You know what I mean? So that's why the initial arrest is unclear. Though again, he was detained in the early hours of the morning. The case never went to trial, and the judge withheld adjudication, which is when the defendant is ordered to be on probation, but is not formally convicted. And so, see, again, this judge needs to be brought in. You know what I'm saying? What you did contributed to this murder today. You know what I mean? Like, these people, they like to never talk about how their past contributes to what's going on today. So if anybody's unclear, faulty police work and the judge's decision that this zaddy is somehow inherently better than everybody else and should be given a pass is partially responsible for how this black woman is dead today. Because that's the question that white people like to ask, is what about today? Well, here you go. You know what I mean? Any questions? Any misunderstanding? Anything that needs to be explained further? You know what I'm saying? Knapp has a number of drug offenses to his name. So this dude was a drug addict, a drug user, a human and drug abuser. You know what I mean? So he was a young dude too. So one question that's never asked when dealing with this kind of situation, especially when it's dealing with a non-black person, is what about the family? What was up with this dude's family? What happens in a family that raises a Colin Knapp? You know what I mean? What kind of family raises a Colin Knapp? A piece of trash that thinks that he can get away with killing a black person with impunity. And what's crazy is the system of illegitimacy backed up his impunity. You know what I'm saying? He even had a direct run-in with the illegitimate law enforcement agencies, and they gave him a pass. When is the last time that you saw a black person have any kind of pass other than bullets pass through him if he's resisting arrest or blocking police progress, as they put it in this article? You know what I'm saying? You don't see that. You know what I mean? So this is why this has to be, we have to test this. You know what I mean? We have to put this to the fire. We have to wait to see how white supremacists like Sean Hannity and Laura Ingraham actually respond. But if you pay attention to that article that I just read from Fox, which is the white supremacist news network, they didn't really address any of the things that I'm asking. So this is one of the reasons why I'm asking these things. I'd like you guys in the comments to answer what you think is the issue. All right. Knapp has a number of drug offenses to his name between 2013 and 2015, including an arrest for possession of cocaine. Xanax is what this is, alprazolam, meth, and paraphernalia. And this took place in September of 2015. It's unclear whether Knapp spent any time in prison for his previous infractions. Now, this is interesting, right? How is that unclear? If there is anybody who can get an arrest record about this, I'd like to see a full jail record, and we'll live stream it. I'll put it on PDF form and we'll go through the whole thing. So if there's anybody out there that has the access to this information about his prison record, I'm trying to figure out why it would be unclear to the mainstream media whether this motherfucker had spent any time in prison or not. In my opinion, I highly doubt that he spent any time in prison. He's a white man. You know what I mean? He was convicted of 9 felonies. If they hadn't sent him to jail, he ain't going to jail. I mean, he's going to jail for this because this just can't be ignored. But all of the past shit, and that, again, this is a fall through of the legal system. What kind of legal system allows a dangerous animal like this to crawl around on all fours in the streets and murder people and hunt people down? And it's not clear whether he spent any time in prison. Now, they would have made sure his ass spent time in prison. And as far as the mainstream media goes, if this was a black man who killed this woman, or any woman for that matter, they would have made sure that the last time he spent some days in school suspension was made public. So, we need to start looking into this dude, Colin Knapp's family. We need to start looking into the police department, why they didn't do shit, why the jail records are unavailable. We need to start looking into all of these incompetencies surrounding this. You know what I mean? We need to start asking why there was no Gabby Petito outrage. Those are the questions that need to be asked of the white supremacist infrastructure, the mainstream media, the population at large. All of those bodies that prop this system need to be put to the test, and they need to be put to the test publicly, not in front of an American audience. Americans can watch if they want to, but in front of the world audience, because that's how you hurt the United States and force them to do what's right by you, is you make them look bad in front of the world. You show them how weak they are. You know what I'm saying? China's already laughing at Joe Biden. You know what I mean? I think the whole world needs to laugh at the United States, because the United States Social Security is indeed laughing stock. Okay. So now here it says between 2015 and up to his arrest on Monday, there are no listed arrests for Knapp in Pinellas County where he lives. All of those felonies, all of those misdemeanors, this motherfucker never got arrested. How does that work? Somebody explain this shit to me, man. How does that work? How does that work? During a press conference on Monday, Pasco County Sheriff Chris Noko said Moore and Knapp had been in an on-again, off-again relationship for about 5 years. Noko said when deputies interviewed Knapp prior to his arrest, there were inconsistencies in his statement. About a week later, authorities searched the contents of a dumpster from the restaurant where Knapp works and discovered blood identified as Moore's on clothing that belonged to Knapp, Noko said. The quantity of blood found on the clothing led police to the conclusion that Moore has most likely died, he added. Investigators also learned that Moore and Knapp were seen arguing on the night of November 28th while out with friends at bars in Largo, Indian Rocks Beach. Knapp told investigators that the couple got into another argument at his home in Newport Richey after midnight. Moore left before he went to the restaurant where he works to complete a meat inventory order around 1:30 a.m. What this idiot didn't tell anybody was that it was human meat. It was a human meat inventory order, which again, alcohol did not bring out anything within his inner nature. You know what I mean? However, Noko said investigators have no evidence that suggests Moore ever left Knapp's home. He was arrested and officials were met with a cold demeanor, Iceman's inheritance, as they quizzed him on his girlfriend's whereabouts. Listen here, I had nothing to do with anything. I don't know where the bitch is at. That's a guarantee. That's what it was. Pasco County Sheriff Chris Noko said, "We were hoping he was going to provide us information during his interview." Well, you've set the standard where white men are allowed to do whatever they want to. This thick dome idiot, he thought he was living out a Viking fantasy. You know what I mean? And, the police and the government structures and everybody has substantiated that. So that's what you get. You know what I mean? But as one of our detectives described to us, he's very cold even when we're begging with him to tell us where her body is. He won't give us information. Why are you begging a suspect. No one cooperates with begging. If your girlfriend is about to walk out the door and leave you, do you beg? Do you ever beg? My question for everybody that's watching this video right now, please type this into the comments. Has begging ever worked for you? That's the question. In my younger days, when I didn't have the knowledge that I have of 41 years of being on the planet, I would beg. I begged, you know what I'm saying? I begged my parents, so please don't whoop my ass. They just beat my ass worse, you know what I mean? So I don't know why the police were using such idiotic tactics. And you have to understand that the police are supposed to be trained to deal with crisis. The police are supposed to be trained to negotiate in dangerous situations. You know what I'm saying? In my opinion, I don't know why you would be begging a violent felon. You know what I mean? I don't know when that's ever worked. You know, they do all these psychological TVs and psychological profiling, and in the psychological TV shows, and if you read anything about criminology and criminal psychology, when you beg a criminal, you're feeding their narcissism, you're feeding their sociopathy. You know what I mean? You're feeding the antisocial personality traits that they have, which will boost their grandiose complex, which will make them less cooperative. The police is supposed to be trained on this. You know what I mean? I'm not a police officer, and I understand this. So you have to ask yourself, if I'm a civilian and I understand this, then what is wrong with the police officers who allegedly they have a badge? That badge represents their professional training, and they're not behaving as professionals. Again, they need to be held slightly over the fire. And then if they can't answer the questions properly, dropped in it. You know what I mean? When asked about Knapp, Sheriff Noko urged the man to make it easier on the family. If he wants to make a positive difference, give them a little piece of justice back. If he wanted to make a positive difference, he could have not acted like a typical pilgrim and just killed something that he didn't get along with. He could have done that. You know what I mean? While being interviewed by the police, the 30-year-old said that he went to buy cigarettes in the early hours of November 29th, and Kathleen was in the car. Police revealed that deputies attempted to look at the video surveillance footage, but couldn't be certain if Moore was indeed still in the car. Cops then said Knapp decided to go to his job, which is believed to be at Harold Seltzer's Steakhouse in Port Richey. It's crazy, man. Friend Jessica Brummett told Fox 13 that a man found the mom's cell phone behind a Walgreens in Pasco County and turned it over to the police. Now, what I find the most interesting is that usually in these situations when somebody is a mother, they constantly show pictures of the kids. They're constantly showing pictures of the kids, and she left 3 beautiful kids and this, that, and the other about these kids. Where is the pictures of the kids, and were the kids around this dangerous meathead is my question. You know what I'm saying? Cops released images of Knapp's 2006 black Cadillac in a bid to get information about his whereabouts before his arrest. Pasco County Sheriff's Office canine units, a drone team, and 20 to 30 detectives are searching multiple areas of Pasco County trying to find Moore's body, Roca said. The sheriff also offered his condolences to Moore's friends and family, who have spent last week conducting their own independent search of the local area for signs or traces of Moore. This is a sad reminder that domestic violence takes place in every community. No shit. Again, this is the assumption that this Sheriff Noko is making, that this is a white guy, and what we need to do is cover for white people and say that domestic violence occurs in every community. See, the problem is that white people are so used to white privilege that if somebody criticizes white people the way that black people are criticized, they say that it's anti-white racism, it's anti-white sentiment. No, it's not. It's objective reality. Because if what I do in my videos is, again, I am not a racist at all. I am not a bigot. You know what I'm saying? Again, my subscribers, Izzy, TD, anybody who has known me for a long time, any of my subscribers that have known me for a long time will tell you I'm the least, you know what I'm saying, bigoted motherfucker out there. You know what I mean? I'm extremely liberal. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't sound good, does it? No, it doesn't. So you have every national mainstream media outlet that depicts black people in the way that they depict us. So what I do is the way that black people are depicted, I take that framework and I apply it when I'm dealing with an article about crime and criminality that involves white people. Now, I have a lot of white people that come into my comments, not my white subscribers, because my white subscribers know what time it is, you know what I'm saying? But other people come in and they'll say, well, you know, you're being racist. Even coons. There's a lot, and honestly, I get more black male coons in my comment section than I get of anybody else. None of my white subscribers ever say any crazy shit. None of my black female subscribers ever say anything crazy. You know what I mean? None of my LGBTQ subscribers or Latino subscribers. It's only white men and black men who come in with the white supremacist trolling, which I find extremely interesting. You know, I find it extremely interesting. Actually, I don't find it extremely interesting, and maybe at some point we'll get into the psychology behind that, because as you've heard before, it's a pathology, and I tend to agree with that aspect. So here it says, our hearts and prayers pour out to the family and friends of Kathleen Moore. I know you were all searching for a better resolution. Should have been searching for the damn body. You know what I mean? Not the friends and family, but I'm talking about the damn police. He talking about praying, hoping somebody was searching for the solution. Somebody should have been praying, hoping that your department was competent for once and found the damn body, or actually arrested this motherfucker up for one of his prior crimes so that this murder wouldn't have taken place. That's a thought. I mean, that would have helped, probably. You know what I mean? Friends and family are in mourning, all right? Moore was just about to graduate. So see, again, this is what I'm talking about. And this is how you know this dude was a white supremacist. Anytime there's a black person doing some shit with their life, they're always the one getting taken out. This woman was about to graduate with a phlebotomy degree and start working as a nurse. Now, this is interesting. I don't know how you graduate with a phlebotomy degree and then work as a nurse. I know that you can graduate with a phlebotomy degree and work as a phlebotomist, but I don't know how you graduate with a phlebotomy degree and work as a nurse. That's some new shit. I don't know how that works. Unless she's going to one of those programs, because some programs have like a dual phlebotomy / medical assistant, or a dual phlebotomy / LPN. I think in Florida they call them LVNs program. But regardless of what this media is saying, you know what I'm saying, she was about to graduate and start a professional career. And I don't know, I think that might have enraged this white man. You know what I mean? Friends and family members were concerned about Moore's whereabouts, as Brummett said it was out of character for her just to disappear and stop responding to messages on text on her phone. Brummett said, I'm scared. I'm trying to keep the faith because she's my sister. Well, you know, I warned y'all about that faith shit. I mean, I warned y'all about that faith shit. I'm not trying to throw no dirt or no salt on no victim, but you know what I'm saying, come on now. You know what I mean? Faith. What has faith gotten you? You know what I'm saying? Democrats ain't the only shit that motherfuckers need to divorce, but that's another story for another day. I don't want people to give up or lose focus because her life does matter. Yeah, I agree. It just doesn't matter to the people that you want it to matter to. That's the problem. It does. I'm just scared because this is not Kit Kat. She would not go this long. She would never put her phone down. Knapp is being held at the Pasco County Detention Center for once. You know what I mean? He has requested an attorney and is expected to be arraigned on Tuesday afternoon. All right. So there's that. Very, very sad story. Not the first. Definitely won't be the last. All right. I find this interesting that they found her white friends to talk to. So what we're gonna do here is we're gonna look at this. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna check this out once the ads stop. All right, we're gonna see exactly what they have to say here. You know what I mean? I'm gonna push this back here if I can. I don't know why this you know, this does weird shit. But let's check this out here. Let's see here. All right.
Now know where she is, and it is not by any means what they were hoping for. Kathleen's body was found in some thick woods behind her boyfriend's house today, where she was last seen. Fox 13's Brianna Ardondo joins us now live from the Polk County Sheriff's Office. Hi there, Brianna. I know this is the information her friends and family have been waiting for. It's been a rough day, I'm sure, for them. But she was found not even a day after the Sheriff's Office reached out asking for help.
Mark, such a tough day for them to hear this news that she has been now found. And
pay attention to how they try to cover for the sheriff's office as if they was doing so much. The sheriff's office not even the ones who found the body.
Of course, as you mentioned, not something they were wanting to hear. Pasco County Sheriff says that they got a call from someone this morning that they had found something, and it ended up being Kathleen Moore's body. And now tonight, her friends are sharing how they will remember her. Kathleen Moore is found now and can be put to rest.
We were kind of holding out hope, but I mean, we knew. But now, I mean, it is closure. And actually can come home and we can, you know, we can do.
Not trying to be funny, but they look like who probably set her up with him. You know what I mean? Like they probably was like, yeah, I know this guy. He's really nice. He's really cool. You know, and you're single, and like, yeah, girlfriend, we can go out for a couple drinks. I wonder if that's true or not. And not to mention this lanyard is dirty. Look at the dirt on the lanyard.
Do what we need to do.
Pasco County investigators say they discovered her body Tuesday after getting a call. Sky Fox shows the area behind Carmel Avenue in Newport Richey.
She was about 50 yards northeast of Colin Knapp's home. And so it was a very heavily brushed area. She was actually covered. You can almost describe she was definitely covered on purpose.
Kathleen's boyfriend, Colin Knapp, is charged with her murder. A Pasco County court.
Look at that Aryan Brotherhood looking motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? That Aryan Brotherhood looking motherfucker. You know what I'm saying?
Complaint says detectives found bedding with a significant amount of blood on it. The sheriff says Knapp tried to get rid of evidence in a dumpster at his job.
There was a lot of evidence that had been found in those dumpsters, and when that was found, there was 14 additional
He should have put it in the grease trap. So much for that high IQ.
industrial-sized dumpsters that went out there that our detectives combed through.
The sheriff's office says Kathleen was a domestic violence victim. Survivor advocates in Tampa Bay say it's a common problem that people still don't talk about, but legal, mental health, financial help, and more is available to victims.
So I think for somebody who is experiencing some of these things and doesn't really know or understand if it is domestic violence, to call your local certified center and talk.
Now, one thing that I got to ask, anytime these kind of things happen, we got to start asking these families and start putting the pressure on them. Why aren't you utilizing black media to attempt to help you to get information? There's people on social media, black media content creators that have further reaches than smaller places like Fox 13. So my question is to the family, why would you not come to black media? Why would you come to white media? White media is going to control your interview. They're going to control the questions that you ask, or they're going to control the questions that you answer. Why would you not come to black media? Everybody else would come to the media. You know what I mean? Anytime there's an issue with Asian people go to NetShark. You have Angie Ngo tweeting all the time. Anytime there's some issues with some conservative shit, you know what I'm saying? Those people go to Newsmax, to Fox. You saw during the Rittenhouse trial, Kyle Rittenhouse's willow-looking mother went to Sean Hannity and Tucker Carlson for interviews. My question is, all of these black people that end up getting killed, all of these black people that have family members that die, all of these black victims of white violence, why do you not come to black media? In my opinion, there needs to be some kind of, families need to be held accountable slightly as well. You know what I'm saying? Fox 13 is not going to cover this kind of story the way that it needs to be covered. So if you care about your family member, my question is, why is black media not being utilized?
It out.
Kathleen's friends say they hope others will listen.
You know, if you're in a relationship like that and you need help, just get out, get help.
Now the focus turns to saying goodbye to their friend.
Life of the party. Great smile. I mean, she was there for everybody. We loved her.
The focus needs to be turned to the systemic issue that allowed that animal to walk around. You know what I'm saying? Again, this seems to me like the first time he's actually ever going to deal with consequences. So if you let somebody walk around and be violent, be a violent meth smoking, weirdo, then you're going to end up with an escalation of violence until somebody is dead. That's the issue that needs to be talked about.
We still do, but we're going to keep her memory alive.
And earlier today, a judge ordered the suspect to stay in jail with no bond. Now, Kathleen's friends and family say that they are, of course, still processing this hard loss for them and that they are now keeping their memories of her close.
Yeah, so I don't know, man. You know what I mean? The mainstream media is going to try and play on your emotions. You know what I'm saying? As you can see that they're clearly doing here. All right. Pasco sheriff, murdered Largo woman was the victim of domestic violence. Boyfriend remains in jail. And that's just it. I like how they don't focus on whether or not this motherfucker was in jail for all them damn 9 felonies and shit. You know what I mean? So now here it says 8 days after a Largo woman went missing, Pasco County deputies found her body Tuesday in a wooded area behind her boyfriend's house where she was last seen. The sheriff's office said that the woman, Kathleen Moore, was a domestic violence victim. Her boyfriend, Colin Knapp, is charged with second-degree murder, accused of killing Moore. She was originally reported missing on November 29th after friends and family said that she did not show up for work or school. Domestic violence survivor advocates in Tampa Bay said that it's a common problem that people still do not talk about, but there are legal, mental health, financial help, and more available services to victims. So what they're doing in the white media is they're shifting this from a white supremacy issue, which is what every issue is, to a domestic violence issue. You know what I mean? The CASA's 24-hour domestic violence hotline is 800-500-1119, and Sunrise of Pasco County's Domestic and Sexual Violence Center hotline is 352-521-3120. So I think for somebody who is experiencing some of these kind of things and doesn't really know or understand if it is domestic violence, to call your local certified center and talk it out. So again, what we're doing is we're victim blaming. We're not going to blame the police for never arresting this animal. We're not going to blame him for putting his hands on her or any of the past people that he's put his hands on. We're going to blame the victim and make her look ignorant and say, well, she's such a dumb black that she didn't even know that she was involved in domestic violence. What we need to do is we need to educate these black people about no. What you need to do is you need to use your criminal justice system to get rid of the filth that you allowed to be on the street, which is this motherfucker right here. You know what I'm saying? But what I find the most interesting is that all of these people that complain about black men talking shit about black women all day, which is what I complain about that shit because it's dumb. I guarantee you that none of those people will have the same smoke for Fox 13 and ask them why are they perceiving this victim as being ignorant, instead of talking about the actual issue, which the actual issue is white supremacy. You know what I mean? The actual issue is the legal system that let this motherfucker skate. What they're doing is they're trying to focus the attention on the victim and say that, oh, you know, she's so ignorant. She should have been able to do something to protect herself. So if you're ever dealing with something like this so that you don't be like her, like, nah. That's one of the reasons why black people need to start utilizing black media. And again, I'm not telling you to utilize my site. People may not like me. It may be shit about me that motherfuckers don't like. There's plenty of black media out there that is customized for you and the type of shit that you like or the type of shit that you get down with. So you need to start reaching out for those people. You know what I'm saying? Black people boycott black business and black media more than any other people at boycott their own ethnic businesses. So you got to ask yourself the question, why? You know what I'm saying? Have white people fully convinced black people that black people aren't capable of doing things with the same competency and aptitude as white people? So you go to a Fox 13 instead of, you know, tagging Tariq Nasheed or TD News Network or Professor Black Truth in a article, you know what I mean? Or any Torian Rain, any other media content creator, Afro Elite. You know what I mean? So you got to ask yourself that question. Why are you using white media? Well, you have your own media. You know what I mean? You use white media, this is what you'll get. Well, stupid victim, you should have been, intelligent enough to know what domestic violence is. They don't do that in any other case. See what I'm saying? Forsyth said that there are indicators that domestic violence may escalate into a deadly situation. The victim advocates talk with survivors about their experiences to access their current level of safety. Some of those things is that abuse escalating over time in severity or the types of abuse, she explained. Has there been a recent separation? Has the victim ever been strangled by their partner? Is there a firearm in the home? You know this motherfucker had all the firearms. You know his white supremacist, dirty beard ass had all the guns. That motherfucker had all the shotguns. He had all the handguns. He had all the slingshots. He had all the dynamite in a shed in the back. You know what I mean? Some of Moore's friends, like Noel Custodio, said they hope other victims will listen to the message about domestic violence awareness from the officials. If you're in a relationship like that and you need help, just get out. Just get out. Well, one of the reasons why she might not have gotten out is because, social media has told her that dying is worse than, being involved in Blackistan or the community, or, if you can't get a zaddy, then you ain't getting no baddie. You know what I mean? So again, what kind of accountability are those people dealing with that, perpetuate these messages if it can be traced on listening time? You know what I mean? So now here it says Pasco County Sheriff Chris Noko said that deputies got a call from someone around 11:30 a.m. Tuesday that they smelled decomposition in the woods behind Carmel Avenue in Newport Richey. They ended up finding the body of Moore. Knapp's home was nearby. We were kind of holding out hope, but now, well, it's closure, Custodio said. Now she can come home and we can do what we need to do. So I want to take a look at this motherfucker real quick. You know what I'm saying? I want to see what this dude looks like. You know what I'm saying? And honestly, it honestly looks like this video is the same as the video that was up here. So I don't think we need to go through that. Yeah, I don't understand. Why would you have the same damn video throughout the article? You know what I mean? So now here it says Pasco detectives said that they were able to positively identify Moore through tattoos. She was about 50 yards northeast of Colin Knapp's home, and so this was a heavy brush area. She was actually covered, Sheriff Noko explained. You can almost describe she was definitely covered on purpose. A Pasco County court complaint said detectives found bedding with a significant amount of blood in it. The sheriff and Knapp tried to get rid of evidence in a restaurant dumpster. The sheriff said Knapp tried to get rid of evidence in a restaurant dumpster at his job at Harold Seltzer's Steakhouse in Port Richey. There was a lot of evidence found in those dumpsters, the sheriff said, and when that was found, there were 14 additional industrial-sized dumpsters that went out there that our detectives combed through. What I find interesting is about this Harold Seltzer Steakhouse. A lot of places don't hire people if they have that extensive of a criminal record. I'd like to see an interview with Harold Seltzer as to what endearing traits and qualities that they found in this guy to not only give him a job, but to give him a job as a kitchen manager. And I'm also curious as to how much he was making. If there's anybody that knows how much kitchen managers at Harold Seltzer make in Port Richey, because Port Richey's probably is kind of expensive. It's a nice area down there in Florida. Let your boy know how much this motherfucker made. Was he a high value man? You know what I'm saying? Now the focus turns to saying goodbye to Moore and getting justice for her. She was the life of the party. And Neely Fuller said, we are a celebratory people. So while you be in the life of the party, you know what I'm saying, your life is about to kill you. Custodio recalled, great smile, she was there for everybody. Whenever you needed her, she was there. Didn't matter what time of day. We loved her and we still do. We are going to keep her memory alive. Anyone with information about this case is asked to call 727-847-8102, option 7, which I find interesting because 727, that's a St. Petersburg Clearwater extension. You know what I'm saying? This is 40 minutes away from there in Port Richey. There should be a different area code. So I don't know. You know what I mean? Very interesting. So what we got here is Dog the Bounty Hunter. All right, and we got Dog the Bounty Hunter on here because you know, Dog the Bounty Hunter, it was someone on his team. All right, it was someone on his team who found this woman. So many damn ads on this shit, you can't even find where the fuck the ads are. You know what I mean? You can't even find where the fuck the ads are.
I have never been a racist. I'm 33.5% Apache. But because of over 15 years ago, I have an Achilles heel because I used the wrong word.
Well, let me ask you about that. That moment 15 years ago.
Yes, sir.
That phone call with your son.
Correct.
You were using language, and over 6 times during that call, you used the N-word.
Yes, sir.
Why were you using that word so freely?
Well, I thought I had a pass in the black tribe to use it, kind of like Eminem.
Who gave you the pass?
He said kind of like Eminem. Who gave Eminem a pass to use the shit? And he said in the black tribe. If you you've been watching Dane Calloway or some shit, you know what I'm saying? Because everybody doesn't go by that. You know what I'm saying? So Dane Calloway believes that black people are Native Indigenous Americans, all black people, right? So because you might have had some kind of interaction with some motherfuckers that believe that Dane Calloway school of thought, you think that it's okay to call every black person the N-word, you fucking idiot. So, you know, if I happen to, you know, have some, you know some people that are Hebrew Israelites, you know what I'm saying? Or if I know some people that's, you know, NOI, and, you know, they just decide to say, well, you're an Edomite, or you're Isu, or you're one of Yaqub's abominations, or some other people, you know what I'm saying? And possibly say that you're a Neanderthal. That makes it okay, because that's one particular sector of thought. You know what I'm saying? And I don't understand why white people be having this stupid ass one drop rule where they say I'm part of a minority. The minority that you claim to be a part of doesn't even have nothing to do with being black. You know what I mean? You're a white supremacist, my guy, and that's just what it is. You know what I'm saying? Because of white rape, every black person in the United States that's a descendant of slavery has a small percentage of European. So, you know, that means that we should never get in trouble for hate speech anytime we decide to talk crazy about white people, right? Using your logic. You know what I mean? Right? I don't even believe that you're, you know, indigenous, for real, for real. I like to see the receipts on that. I think you're just a Dawes Act recipient.
Support that organization.
Yes, I do. I have never been a racist. I'm 33.5% Apache.
What does that have to do with being a racist? Do you know that the Apache was one of the tribes that was allowed to have black slaves? You stupid fuck. This is the dumb shit that white people say and do. You know what I'm saying? They just think that they had the answers for everything when really you don't have the answer for anything. That's why you have a system to prop you up. What does you being Apache have to do with the N-word use, other than the fact that your alleged Apache ancestors were calling black people the N-words if they weren't working fast enough? You know what I mean?
But because of over 15 years ago, I have an Achilles heel because I used the wrong word.
Well,
you have an Achilles heel because you're a white supremacist bigot and you chose to use that word. Nobody put a gun to your head and told you to use the N-word. Some days I go without saying the N-word at all. You're making excuses. This is mayo-splaining right here. I guess, according to him, tomahawk-splaining.
let me ask you about that moment 15 years ago.
Yes, sir.
That phone call with your son.
Correct.
You were using language, and over 6 times during that call, you used the N-word.
Yes, sir.
Why were you using that word so freely?
Because you're a white supremacist. Because you are a racist, genetically bigoted white supremacist. And your explanations that you're using are ridiculous. These explanations only make sense in the mind of a white conservative. To anyone else on the planet, you sound insane. You know what I'm saying? The only people stupid enough to buy this idiotic explanation that your dumbass is attempting to give is the Fox News crowd. That's it.
Well, I thought I had a pass in the black tribe to use it, kind of like Eminem.
Who is the black tribe? Who is the black tribe? White supremacist talk.
Gave you the pass.
The brothers.
Who are the brothers?
What brothers? Here we go. Now here we go with the mayo-splaining. Now it's some ambiguous black dude that nobody can trace, either probably because you killed him or because he doesn't exist. Who are these brothers that gave you the pass? Who are they? Identify them by name.
I had just, gotten out of prison in 1979 after spending...
If you were in prison, you were dealing with Aryan members. You were dealing with Aryan Brotherhood members. You were not dealing with La M.A. You were not dealing with the Black Guerrilla family. You weren't dealing with those people. You know what I'm saying? Especially you were in Texas. That says Pampa, Texas. Yeah, no, sorry, my guy. Fuck out of here. Ain't no black people fuck with you in jail, unless black people fucked with you in jail.
Time in 18 months in Texas, and it was probably 3/4 from the black tribe. So that was a word that we used back and forth.
So is that the way that you were using that word on the phone call? And see, I guarantee you, I'll be shocked if the white media, ET, allowed their interviewer to ask him, were you using the N-word as a term of endearment on the phone? And see, the thing is that my line of questioning that I'm asking right now, white people say that this is racist. It's racist for you to call a white person, for you to not be black and call a white person out on some racism. White people believe that this is racist. They don't have no problem with the fact that this motherfucker used the N-word. If you don't buy his excuse, you're the racist. You're the problem. Anytime you're dealing with anything that a white supremacist does or that a white supremacist system does, you have to understand that you're always the problem. That's the reason why anytime black people have any kind of complaint about anything, white people and white acceptable, white adjacent minorities or white acceptable black people or white acceptable coons will say you have a victim mentality. You know what I mean? You see how the white supremacist media basically is putting this murder on this woman because she wasn't smart enough to go to domestic violence counseling. That's the way that the media is trying to frame this story. It's her fault. It's everybody else's fault that he used the N-word. No, it's Iceman inheritance is what it is.
As maybe a compliment. My pass expired for using it, but no one told me that. To say a racist name doesn't qualify to make you a racist.
If you...
So now we have a beneficiary of racism attempting to frame what racism is for the victims. I've never seen a murder victim define what a murder is for a murderer. That's interesting. That only works in with white supremacists and the red hat crew. You know what I mean? All of these nutcase gamers, they'll all be like, yeah, dude, yeah, like that argument fucking wrecked them, man. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's fucking leftist, man. Like, no, dude. This doesn't make any sense. Again, the question that needs to be drilled in is, on that phone call, were you using the N-word as you claimed it was given to you as a pass to be used as a term of endearment? Or were you doing like most white people do when they don't think that they're on the camera, just spewing it for no reason because they have that much internal toxicity?
Use that word. If you use that word and you use it in your regular everyday life, it makes you a racist.
I have more black friends than Eminem.
Why do you keep bringing up Eminem? See, this is that weird and like, white people think that this is a legitimate argument. This is how clueless this motherfucker is. And he went on Fox, and man, they gave him all kinds of round of applause. It's all kind of black cucks and simps on YouTube. They're like, yeah, Dog the Bounty Hunter's the man. You know what I'm saying? So, there it is. Dog the Bounty Hunter has claimed that he had a free pass to use racial slurs. So, I'm curious, Dog the Bounty Hunter, as to if you train your employees like that. I'm curious as to when your employee found Kathleen Moore, if they said, we've identified the bed wench. Because, again, right here, you claim that you've had a free pass to use racial slurs. You know what I mean? So now here it says the 68-year-old, real name Dwayne Chapman, denied being a racist while speaking exclusively to Entertainment Tonight about a leaked phone call that surfaced more than a decade ago where he used the N-word several times. You know what I'm saying? So this is this idiot's explanation. You know what I'm saying? Here goes another racist white supremacist piece of shit, Bob Dole and Newt Gingrich. And they're like, yeah, there's nothing wrong. And there's the king racist, you know what I'm saying, Ronald Reagan. You know what I mean? And another one, this motherfucker right here, his family has ties to World War II. You know what I mean? The 68-year-old, let's see, so here we are. It says, I have never been a racist. Here we go. So you believe that being 33% Apache makes you not a racist? Snoop Dogg, I believe, also has like 20% of some kind of indigenous. I don't believe that you're 33% Apache. I don't believe that. I'd like to see the results. Is there anyone who has ever seen this DNA test? I believe that your family may have benefited from the Dawes Act for lying and saying that you were native indigenous, but I don't believe that you have a significant percentage of native indigenous. You, sir, are a European and you're lying. You know what I'm saying? But because of over 15 years ago, I have an Achilles heel because I used the wrong word. You have an Achilles heel because you're a racist white supremacist and you use the right word. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? You used the right word. You didn't mean to call anybody anything other than the N-word, motherfucker. You know what I mean? He told Kevin Frazier, Apache is a term used to denote 6 groups of indigenous people from the southwest regions of the U.S. What in the fuck do that have to do with using the N-word? Is the N-word a slur for Apache people? There's a bunch of dumb black people that think that, you know, they're just Native American just because, which none of this has to do with Apache. That would have to do more with Seminoles and actual black tribes, not these alleged white designated civilized tribes like Apache, Navajo, and Cherokee. You know what I mean? So what does your indigenous roots have to do with the N-word? Unless as a white supremacist and keeper of stolen information, you know something that's been not told to everyone else. So if you know something that's not been told to everyone else, tell everybody what you know. This question was in reference to a phone call between Mr. Chapman and his son Tucker, who recorded it, where the former television personality repeatedly used the N-word. Now, notice how the white media, independent, they don't say whether he was using the N-word the way that he claims to have used it as a term of endearment. But he clearly wasn't using it as a term of endearment because it was his daughter who got triggered. A tape of the exchange was sold to and published in the National Enquirer in 2007. The revelation led to a temporary suspension of Dog the Bounty Hunter, a reality show depicting him and his family working in Hawaii's bail bond industry. It was permanently canceled in 2012 after 8 episodes. When Frazier asked why he thought it was appropriate to use the term, Mr. Chapman said he believed he had a pass to use the word. How do you give somebody a pass to use inappropriate terminology? Who gives out those passes? I thought I had a pass in the black tribe to use it. Again, who is the black tribe? And again, Eminem got dragged when people found out about that shit. Eminem got motherfucking dragged. So again, this is just a white supremacist using white supremacist tactics. I thought I had a pass like Eminem. Motherfucker, are you stupid? Did you not see all of the videos going in on Eminem? He was going through that shit for like a whole year. So how does that constitute in your peanut brain that there's some kind of pass for doing it? This is what white men do. You know what I mean? Again, I could show video after video of this literally being a thing. Vosh did it. You know what I mean? I might have to do a video on that, and I'm gonna tag his motherfucking ass in that shit too. You know what I mean? Vosh got his own motherfucking he got a whole justification of why it's okay for white people to use the N-word. You know what I mean? Now that's what Tim Pool should have actually interviewed him. When they actually did the interview, he should have interviewed him about that shit. You're more conservative than I thought. You know what I'm saying? You think it's okay to go around and call black people the N-word. Let's talk about that. You know what I'm saying? Mr. Chapman replied, the brothers. Again, who is the brothers? We talking about the Mario brothers? What brothers? Who are we talking about? So again, now what we have is what white people and what white supremacists do. He's correlating his link to black people with prison and the criminal justice system. Again, this is white people shit. This is what white people do. Just link back to when I had gotten out of prison. So you mean you didn't know no doctors, you didn't know any lawyers, or are you saying that they're non-existent? Which is it? You never went through a drive-through at McDonald's and happened to have a black cashier? Your only experience with black people, where again you're getting the designation allegedly to use this word from black people who are criminals. So that's where you take your advice on black people and black society from, is the filth that was rotting in jail alongside your filthy ass. Again, these are supposed to be the high IQ people. And in my opinion, I can't make any discernible sense of why someone would be so stupid as to say or do some stupid shit like this. You know what I mean? So now here it says, so that was a word we used back and forth, maybe as a compliment. Again, if there's anybody who has a copy of that phone call, was the N-word being used as a compliment on that phone call? Because it's the phone call that's in question. You know what I mean? Mr. Chapman argued to say a racist name doesn't qualify to make you a racist, says a beneficiary of racism. Know anything about racism should ever be taken serious or legitimized by an American beneficiary of racism. You know what I'm saying? Mr. Frazier, unconvinced by this, told him, if you use that word, you use it in your everyday life, it makes you a racist. Mr. Frazier also pushed him on homophobic language. And see, this is the buck breaking. It can't just be left as a black issue. You know what I'm saying? Mr. Frazier has to satisfy the white ethos and merge race and gender. White people cannot have meaningful conversations about race without bringing gender into it. Watch any content that white people make about race. They cannot do it. I don't know if it's some kind of genetic issue or what, but it always has to be race and gender. And what I find interesting is that it's white people who created the gender patriarchy, the gender hierarchy. And they use the same ideologies from the book called Downfall of Man with Darwin, as well as the bell curve, to justify their gender bias, their sexism, as well as their racism. Again, because they have an issue with separating the two. You know what I mean? So now here it says the N-word can be traced back to the beginning of the transatlantic slave trade in the early 1600s. It can be traced beyond that. Again, so now we have white, illegitimate media giving black history lessons. You know what I mean? Academics have said that the word was used to deny people their full humanity, allowing them to be bought and sold as if they were property. So you mean to tell me that the N-word is what did that? Or it is not the stupid decisions that Africans in those nations made, along with white people's inherent belief that they're better than everybody else? It was simply the N-word that did it. Okay. Kendi Andrews, a professor of black studies at Birmingham City University, told BBC, when the N-word is used, that's essentially what it's used for. So I would hope most people would understand why it's deeply offensive and problematic, because it's still used in that context now. N-word was, in my opinion, some of the first MK Ultra mind control. White people, as well as black people, and white acceptable non-whites use the N-word in order to get a emotional response out of not privy black people. You know what I mean? And don't get it twisted. You know what I'm saying? When white people see another white person call a black person the N-word, it's empowering to them. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? Because they feel like they're losing their power, which is one of the reasons why we had these little cosplay marches. You know what I'm saying? We have we have little cosplay episodes like this. You know what I'm saying? White men were losing our America. You know what I'm saying? Like, fuck out of here. It's never yours to begin with. You know what I'm saying? So now here it says, later in the interview, Chapman was joined by his fiancée, Francie Frayne, as they discussed the recent allegations made against him by his daughter. So again, when it comes to Dog the Bounty Hunter, it was his daughter who has an issue with him using the N-word, who accused her father of not inviting him to the couple's upcoming wedding for her choice to participate in social justice movements such as the Black Lives Matter movement. So again, we have white people making Black Lives Matter adjacent to being, you know, just straight up being black. Now, my thing is, if your daughter feel like, I don't expect white people to understand how to properly, you know, deal with social justice, because they've never been oppressed by a white supremacist system. You know what I'm saying? Actually, they have. You know what I'm saying? It's one of the reasons why they ran over here instead of dealing with the white supremacy that they were dealing with in Europe. You know what I'm saying? But that's a different story for a different discussion. You know, so I don't ever expect anything meaningful to come from any white social justice movement ever. The Democrats are a failure. Black Lives Matter is a failure. Anything that white people try to do, you know, as far as quote social justice, if you're a beneficiary of social injustice, you're not even going to understand how to deal with dismantling social injustice. So in my opinion, whatever. But in my opinion, if you're making a legitimate effort and you think that doing that is helping, in my opinion, you're not helping. But the fact that you identify issues, you know what I'm saying? I mean, you can't ignore it. I mean, at least there's something there. You know what I mean? So what I find interesting is that I don't know if his daughter is with a black man or not. I don't know what's going on there. But I find it interesting that her father is such a racist. He's such a white supremacist piece of shit that all his daughter did was participate in social justice movements. And she's ostracized from the family. I don't know if she's with a black dude. I don't know if she's with a non-white man. But just her participation in a social justice movement, she's ostracized from the family. That's white supremacy. You know what I'm saying? Your stupid ass explanation is not sufficient. Motherfucker, you failed. You know what I'm saying? So now here it says his daughter also accused him of having an affair while her mother, Beth Chapman, was dying of cancer. She passed away in 2019. Chapman denied the infidelity allegations during the interview. Well, hopefully his denial of infidelity was a little bit more convincing than his denial of being a violent, vile white supremacist. You know what I'm saying? Because ain't nobody convinced. You know what I'm saying? Ain't nobody convinced of it. You know what I mean? So again, why are we talking about Dog the Bounty Hunter? Because it was one of Dog the Bounty Hunter's people who found Kathleen Moore. And I find it interesting. I think he was able to find him because he knows how a violent white supremacist would think. You know what I'm saying? So he had an advantage there. You know what I'm saying? If I decided to kill some woman like a caveman because, she wasn't listening or she got out of hand, what would I do with her? You know what I mean? What kind of urges do I have when women get out of hand with me? You know what I'm saying? And, he used his Iceman inheritance and was able to make money off of racism.
The Bounty Hunter exclusive. Despite Dwayne Chapman's family controversy boiling over, it looks like nothing's going to stop him from saying I do to his fiancée, Francie, today.
All right, let's talk about your wedding. Tell me something specific about your dress.
So, yeah, in this video, clearly there's nothing being talked about as far as the racism of Dog the Bounty Hunter. This is, you know what I'm saying? The headlines here is Dog the Bounty Hunter reacts to daughter Bonnie claiming he's racist and homophobic, and they talking about a damn wedding. You know what I mean? So let's actually get into this article because this brings up a problem. And I think that there are some black bounty hunters. There's a black bounty hunter on YouTube. I can't think of what his name is, but he's got like 1 million subscribers. I think he might actually be in Florida too, if I'm not mistaken. But people need, like, this dude's not a hero. You're a racist white supremacist, you know what I'm saying? And your employee probably accidentally flicked ashes on the poor lady while she was dead. You know what I mean? So again, this dude's not legitimate. You know what I'm saying? He's a piece of shit. He really doesn't care about that woman, you know what I mean, that he found. But as long as black people continue to find reasons to fight instead of find reasons to come together, then white supremacy and profiteering off of racism, like Dog the Bounty Hunter and like that piece of shit that killed that lady, will persist. So don't ask questions about it. You know what I mean? Like, it's not that motherfucking difficult. You know what I'm saying? Dog the Bounty Hunter Chapman is about to tie the knot once again on Thursday, but not all of his family members will see him say I do. In an interview with ET's Kevin Frazier, the 68-year-old reality star and his fiance explained why they did not invite Dog's daughter, 22-year-old Bonnie Chapman, to their nuptials. Dog also addressed Bonnie's allegations that he's racist, homophobic, and cheated on Beth Chapman, his late wife, and Bonnie's mother. All right. So now here he goes. He's saying the same thing here that was said in the Independence. You know what I'm saying? So I don't think we need to read this because we already read that. That article. And so, see, Dog the Bounty Hunter wasn't invited to his wedding for supporting BLM. That's hateful white supremacy. They can't tolerate people who have different ideas than him. So, you know, you feel that black lives don't matter, but the black lives that gave you that N-word pass do. You know what I mean? Your daughter feels some kind of way. You know what I'm saying? She sees some errors in what's going on in the world, and she thinks that her way of trying to, you know, make a difference is to support Black Lives Matter. You ditch your daughter and don't let your daughter see you get married as a result of that. And they say that black fathers are fucked up. I mean, so very sad stories. You know what I'm saying? The white media, as usual, did an incompetent job of covering them the right way. So, as usual, you know what I'm saying? You got to have an independent journalist come and tie up the loose ends and report this shit the way that it needs to be reported. You know what I'm saying? So, with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, that's the end of this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you're not subscribed to the channel, you already know what to do. Make sure you smash the like button, share this video out to all of your followers, drop your boy a comment, drop some thoughts, and I will catch you all on the next video. All right?